Potter's Journal. Okay, last week I made 100 pots in a day. How stupid was that? Other than to say I did it, it'll probably take a week now to finish them. They were mugs and all need handles. I've had to put them here on my dining table. There's not all of them, but three boards of them covered with plastic. A lot of it is monitoring. And I've also got them right next to the wood stove, so they're insulated, so we don't get too much condensation build up, and they can turn to mush. Um, this is the day I will not be doing anything. This is the day I'm dying after making them. I've got a board here still right next to the wheel, ready to go. The first ones, maybe, that I'll get handles on and stamped Pittsburgh. I think most of us. Okay, here's what happened with another board out in the cold part of the studio. Most of us don't have well heated studios. In Florida, you don't have to worry about them freezing, but I found even there, the studios are maybe not heated at all, so winter can be a problem. And running out of room, I had to put 15 of them left out in the cold part of the studio, but the furnace went out last night. And I had some insulation on them, but let's see how things are. Okay, it might seem fun to say you did 100 pots in a day, but not if you overextend yourself. And they freeze to death. And monitoring these, I will have to get to next. These are still really wet. By turning them over to keep them wet. Okay, here, if you put them on a board, they're going to dry out. So I put the plastic under and over. Sometimes the evaporation will cause a pool of water down there. So I put a thin piece of paper if they're going to sit for a good bit of time before you get them handles on them. And then covered with plastic. Oh, so I lived through day one after. I was pretty much dead yesterday. I didn't even do a very good job of monitoring them. I really only lost three to the frost. The back part of the board did have some foam over it, and knew there were some that needed covered better, but I didn't even have the strength to monitor them. The end of one board, three of them dried out a little bit too much, but I was able to, do this kind of thing, dip them in water, and resaturate those three so that I could get handles on them. But there is really no reason to make 100 pots in a day, unless, like I was years ago, being paid piecework in a shop, and that was all you did. Now, I did have to, in those days, also wedge the clay, so that would be part of the day too. But here, this time, I did it the day before, just to say I could still reach those numbers at, okay, 61. But breaking up the day, okay. And these really don't need trimmed. I could just thumb off the bottom, but give them a little extra shape. And also, because of the slip decoration, I pulled water under them to hydroplane them off the wheel, and then lifting them low so as not to disrupt a slip. I did get my fingers pushed into the bottom, um, so I'm cleaning just that little bit up. I probably need to develop another design where that's part of the pot, an acceptable part, something that adds to it. And yeah, another okay design where there's a little less shaping and forming. I don't need the slip, and maybe we just dip it in a glaze. And I also too. I think the handles. Okay, that was something everybody noticed. How much work's gonna have to go into the handles. So I will try to share a little bit of each part of the process here on each one of these boards for the 100 mugs. Okay, so there are 35 of these with the wavy line in. Here's a bit from the last handle, and I grab a new little bit of clay and push it together like that. My handles are semi-coiled, the first part, and then pulled off the side of the pot. I don't know, I find the complete pulling from the start a little bit of overproduction, a lot of sloppy mess. It just seems like it could be simplified, and a casual job that you can do sitting down as opposed to, you know, up and down and all over the place. So a coil, and then I flatten it one side, the other, turn it again, bring the flat side up. I then put a line down the center like that and push in the sides. Now I have put them on just like that, and they've made a nice handle, but and then sometimes I'll just pull the bottom part, but lately it seems like I've been pulling the whole thing and falling back into the pull process. Okay, when I cut this off, I cut it like a saw, jaggedly up and down with the needle, so that it's already automatically scored and ready to put on there. Okay, and you know, that might be enough for today. I will show on the next board tomorrow how I pulled them off the side. And just a little bit of trimming. The rogue pots, these select few, are getting just a slight bit more refining. Okay, to distinguish their rough character. Okay, and now on to the casual studio routine, getting the handles on. So a day to make 100 mugs, and that was day 1. This is, I guess, day 5, the 4th day of putting them together. So that question people always say, how long does it take a mug to make a pot? Yeah. And my handles, I roll out a coil and then cut them. They're ready to go, fairly stiff, so that when it goes on here, it doesn't, right at the neck where it comes off the side of the pot, you know, bend straight down. It's coming straight out of there already. I will push this on with a finger below and the thumb right into the center, pushing that in, a little bit of pressure together with the fingers and into the side of the pot. And then the side between the two fingers, a V on both sides, and round it out. The same on the other side. So it's really somewhat shaped before I even put it on there. And then just a dip in the water. And okay, so it's a coiled handle to start with, and then pulled, and being careful to, you know, do most of the pulling down below and not above. Sometimes I will actually, right now, push again into the side of the pot, and then give that side another V between the two fingers to give it a nice shape. Another dip in the water. Okay, and some more on the pull part. And then make sure that's a nice angle up there. Okay, and then pull it straight out, and okay, into the side of the pot. A little push down there. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes there's a little extra to take off. And I've been, okay, pushing it in and rounding off the bottom bit, and then a pinch together and into the pot, so that we don't just, so there's a good firm attachment, and then that dovetail thing both ways, but I don't just push it out.
I'm actually pushing it in and then together and then out. Being careful that you don't leave, yeah, a spot right there. And then while your hand is in the pot is when I get the stamp on the side, because my hand is already there. I will come back, push it out from the inside because we don't want that dent in there. While we're doing this, make sure the top is rounded. This is also when, come back and, okay, I sometimes, yeah, forgot to do the underneath, make sure that's rounded, and then another there and there. And, okay, and the double checks occasionally, you know, a little bit with a sponge might do something too. And I will do the Pittsburgh stamp on them after I do this part, so I'm not constantly picking up and putting down. Okay, and moving on to the stamping, the Pittsburgh. Okay, mugs. And I will come down to here, blue on the inside, down to here, or maybe some other color and a tan down below. So I will start in the middle and go one way and the other. And I am lucky in that, okay, there we go. Push that out from the inside because it got pushed in a little bit from the inside. Yeah, and I like the barrel mugs. That if a few of these dry out too much, I will leave them plain. For some reason, the ones that aren't stamped Pittsburgh, I put more into the decorating. But a number of people like the barrel mugs and have asked for them plain, since in the past they always had Pittsburgh on them. And yeah, lucky to live in a place where, okay, nobody wants to buy a Pennsylvania mug, that they all are either loyal to their home city-state or are visiting or lived here and want to remember. This is the end of the day. I want to get this done so they don't dry out too much, but I will leave some plain. But a better beginning of the day project because it entices you in. It's one of the few relaxing, easy to do jobs. So like diving in that pool of cold water, it gets you in and it gets you started, and it's easier to then jump into the next dive into the next project. And I forget if this is day 3 or 4 after throw from the start of this. So worried about them drying out too fast that these were covered very well and aren't drying out fast enough. So I will have to leave them uncovered a bit. Okay, before we can trim them and get the handles on. Except for the 4 back there, I have to, okay, rehydrate those a little bit.
Okay, so this is it. Day 7 of finishing the 100 mugs, the handle bit. And this is the part that I've been most worried about. These are the ones that got frozen. Let's see just what happened here. And most of us know once they've been frozen, that is it. Now, one side of the board was covered better than the other, but I think they were so wet, and we can see something close here. They were so wet that that's why they attracted the frost, all the water. But they were also so wet that when they thawed out, it all pulled back together. So this has happened to me once before. I did kind of seal things up and they did work. Now there were 2 collapses here, but that is it. And here's the one that you heard me throw in the bucket at the opening of the video. Let's see. Okay, if we can get the last of these done here today. 99 100. Okay, there were, I forget, 3 or 4 losses because of the frost. I got my shot in the arm. We got the mugs made. I can sit back now and get on to something I'd rather be doing. And actually, maybe we'll turn some of these, about 15 or so, into the rogue mugs. Do something with the slip, the pots that, yeah, have the spice, the ones that you enjoy doing. Okay, thank you so much for the comments helping me get through this project. Okay, stop back.